Hi, Lawrence. Hi, Dimitar. Hi, Harpreet. Can you hear me? Harpreet, I cannot hear you. Hi, Rahul.
Hey, hi everyone. I hope now my audio is visible. Audible, sorry.
We can hear you, Harpreet. Yes. Hey, Rishabh.
Great. Good,
Hi,
good. आप
Sam.
बताओ.
Hi, Saloni.
Sorry, I wanted to connect actually with you, but oh, sorry, Rishabh.
No, no, that's all good.
Yeah, Harpreet, definitely. We'll catch up. Maybe, I'm available.
Yeah,
So whenever you're
perfect,
available.
perfect. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Hey, Rishabh. Hey, Soumya. Thanks for joining.
Misalani.
We'll maybe wait for another 1 or 2 minutes and then we can kickstart. Hi, Francisco.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Can you guys see the presentation? I know that sometimes, it has been reported that the presentation is not visible or it's not moving. So I've tried to share my full screen today. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe in case you guys face some challenges where the presentation is not moving, just stop me and I'll move that before I start talking. Otherwise, we have to wait till the end when I realize that the slides were not moving. Yeah, I'm really happy to see some of the people joining this session, from last week's as well. So that means that it was a great interactive session for all of you. Thank you everyone for joining. So today I've also got another guest with me, which is from UiPath itself. So I've got Soumya Rajan, who's an applied scientist with UiPath, and she's got extensive experience working on communication mining. So I thought it would be a great experience for our community to hear from her mouth itself, how she's been using this particular product and what are the real use cases that she has seen in the industry where there is applicability of this product. Thanks a lot, Soumya, for joining this and taking the request to walk through us for the product.
Yeah. Thanks, Saloni, for giving the opportunity to present. It's really nice to meet you guys. I hope you love the product after I give the session. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks. So, for those who have joined our last sessions and for those who have joined the session for the first time, this is the last session in the discovery series that we were running for the community, which means that our focus for this particular discovery sessions was the discover part of the business platform, which UiPath offers, which has got automation hub, process mining, task mining, and communication mining. And in the previous sessions, we've already covered the other three products, where specifically from Automation Hub and Task Mining, we had also gone to the products, understand for a beginner, if you want to pick up those products, how you can utilize that. And for process mining, we had an overview. And then, the plan is that maybe in couple of months or weeks, we can have an advanced session, and then we can actually look at the product where everybody can understand how to use it. For today's session as well, because it's more of a low code no code kind of a platform, so that's where we will also share a product demo which Somme is going to share. But just to talk about us, like everybody who knows, who have been part of this community events, I work in Pernix as an automation practice lead, and I've been working with multiple customers on the RPA ML AI deployments. And before Pernix, I was also part of UiPath for good 2.5 years, where I was a business analyst. So in my overall RPA journey, I have been working very closely on the discovery, the deliver, as well as understanding the automations from feasibility perspective. And I have extensively used all these discover products. And then Soumya, I'll probably hand over to you to introduce yourself, and then we can go to the next slides.
Sure. So I've been working at UiPath for past 3 years as an applied scientist. So I mainly work on DU projects, that is document understanding projects and communications mining projects, where I work primarily with the customers in deploying use cases and work mostly on the growth products that are coming across. And yeah, I think that's it about me. And I think today you'll be seeing a use case along with how communications mining plays a major role on the product, and then you'll be understanding how it is being used in the real world as well. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Soumya. Thank you so much for joining today. If anybody wants to introduce themselves, because as I said, it's more of an interactive session, feel free to unmute yourself and share about you, how you've been using this product, etc. And if you want to just share your introduction in the chat, that is also great. And while we are showcasing or discussing this product, anybody who wants to share their experiences, the use cases that might be something that you think are what you can use communications mining on, we are happy to discuss that. So we can have an interactive session more than making it just one sided. So that would be helpful or beneficial to all of us. In the next 60 minutes, we are going to have a communications mining introduction, which means that we'll talk about it on a high level, what it is, how it is actually applicable to the discover layer. Then we are also talking about the concepts about, which Soumya would talk about, like how you can utilize it for natural language processing, sentiment analysis, all those aspects from the product. And then as we said, that we'll also be talking about the analytics and the use cases where communication mining plays major role in the industry. And of course we are going to have a hands-on experience of the product, where we will actually go to the product and then share the glimpses of how you can actually use this in your projects. So that's we're gonna discuss in next 60 minutes. So for today, I'll keep my introduction short, because I think the real interest factor for everybody would be the product demo. So I'll kick start with what communication mining is, and then I'll hand over to Soumya. I think so far the products that we have been talking about was more focused towards the processes, because ultimately what you're trying to automate is any process that is available in an organization, or maybe any task that the users are performing. So those were centered towards that. But typically this product comes very handy when we are looking at communications. Now, when I say communications, it can be on an email, it can be chats, it can be CRM platforms, any source where you've got your customers interacting, your even your employees interacting with each other, and you want to mine to understand what are we looking at in that communication. And typically when all these communications are delivered, we are trying to work on a problem. We either want that we should understand what is a problem that we are trying to kind of unwind, or it can be an opportunity that we need to gain, which means that somebody sends us a communication, we can convert that as an opportunity, which means maybe you are conducting a survey, you are taking a customer experience, etc. You want to understand how I can improve. So those are the opportunities that we are looking at. So these are typically the communications that are available in an industry or an organization. But the challenge is that it's growing. We know in our day-to-day life how much we communicate on all the platforms that are in the industry. So at some point in time, typically it gets very difficult when you have to look at communications from your customers, and you have to really give them the solutions. It is very tricky. That's where communication mining really helps. So when you have scale and you want things to be delivered at a very high speed, you have to provide some kind of queries, feedbacks. You have to reply to some of the tickets that customers are raising. Communication mining comes handy. So if you look at the right hand side, not just kind of I would say problem solving, there can be certain changes that the customers request. Like when I say customers, I think you and me, we talk to call centers or customer service supports on daily basis, and then we want to reach out to them saying that my address is changed, my mobile number has changed, maybe there are other changes in my basic geography, etc. A lot of things. We just call them, and then they have to manage it. We can raise complaint. You want to cancel any kind of subscriptions, you want to change an order, like in the industry of digital online kind of purchase, you want to edit your orders. Invoicing, which we have also spoken in our previous sessions, this is also a typical example of where a lot of communications are being performed. And finally, when you have to do some status update on the orders and rewards. So these are typical communications that you would have with the communications customer cares, etc. And you need your answer immediately. That's where the problem statement comes, that if we have got enough people, enough bandwidth to answer every customer at the right time. So, from a communication mining standpoint, typically, this is how the platform works, which means that it gets connected to the various sources. It can be anything. It can be emails. When I say tickets, there are a lot of platforms like ServiceNow, all those platforms where it can get connected. You can also connect it to any service desk kind of agents, or you can also have service desk tickets it can extract from, and of course CRMs, as I said. So it connects with all of them and then tries to interpret the data. So when I said interpret, of course Soumya would showcase that. So what it does is it reads those messages and try to understand the surface meaning of those messages, like try to extract the data that is useful data, and then shares an intent of that message, whether it's a question or it's like feedback, etc. That's where it connects. And then it's a more of AI ML tool, so you can train your model or product with sample data, which helps you discover the entire process, and then ultimately you can automate it, which means that once you have discovered, you might want to take some downstream steps of maybe replying to a customer, or maybe just doing analytics or solving a query, etc. You can automate that. So that's how a communication mining works. And to drive that, there are different ways. Like you can actually use API integrations, you can use RPA, you can do it on the ERP itself. So that's how typically a communication mining works. Of course, as I said, it's more high level, and then we'll see this in real life. How does it work? So when I said about the first part about connecting to any email, you want to interpret the message. So it can be any email. So what it does, it converts into very useful information. So maybe in the message you might have got a lot of content which might not be useful. So it just picks up that data that is required and then gives you an intent. So as I said, it just tells you that somebody is trying to reach you because they want to change their address, and looks like the entire tone of that email is frustrated. The customer is not happy that you are unresponsive, etc. So these are the inferred intents. But on top of that, it also gives you a confidence score. It tells you how confident the model is when it is actually interpreting everything. So that's where, going back to connect, so as I said, there are pre-built connectors with which you can actually use to connect various different popular products in the market. Like it can be AWS, APN, Pega, etc. You can actually connect Salesforce, your emails, any shared folders, etc. You connect with them. So that's more of the pre-built connections that we have. And then you train your data. So when I said train, and I told you it's a very low code kind of a UI, where even business users can easily go and train the data. So you can put certain sample conversations or communications, and you can kind of tell what is the output of that, and then it goes on learning on its own over a period of time. So that's what training comes handy. And with that, you can discover different things. You can discover that what are the typical different kind of mails that are coming. Are customers asking more of a service that is not good? Are they looking for certain queries that they want to us to answer? So this tool would help you discover a lot of things across your communications. And finally, when we have discovered, there is a lot of analytics that it can be provided. It can provide you with volume. It can give you a structure in terms of where your issues are more, like we have got complaint, refund, etc. So you can kind of customize these insights based on how you want it to be. So that's the analyze part of the communications mining. And moving on, so as earlier I said that there is a way that you can train this model. You can also gauge the performance of this model. Like you can understand that the model rating is 90%, and whether it's good, bad, what actions you should take to kind of improve this model so that it is more helpful for you overall. So that's on the performance monitoring of that particular tool. And going back to the same thing where I said automate, now that we have understood what our communications are, what is the analytics behind that, like, where is the volume, what actions people are actually asking me to do. Now you have to actually take those actions. Maybe you can start kind of interacting with the customers, or maybe you have to solve certain things. You might have to connect to ERPs. So there are different downstream processes that you can actually take. One of the example where I have used communications mining is that we automated a process where it was more of IT service desk within the organization, and there are a lot of emails that are coming and sent to the IT desk to kind of solve their assets problems. So you can actually read that data, and then with that we had actually sent messages back to the employees. That's one thing. Second thing is, maybe I need to go back to my platforms, maybe detag an asset, or maybe allocate that asset to that particular employee. So we use that as a downstream process, which I was talking from an automate layer. So that's kind of something, next step that you can take once you have mined your entire process from a communication standpoint. uh, Moving on. So that's, I would say it's more of a benefit what you're trying to deliver as part of communications mining. So I think wherever we spoke about discovery, the end product or the end goal is to improve return on investment. So you want that the efforts that you're spending on digitizing something, you're getting value out of that. And that's where this tool also helps you realize that particular ROI faster. So that's one. And then, coming from an industry where you have been working with some customers, customer experience is the key. Now if you don't keep your customers happy, if you are asking them to wait for long to answer their questions, etc., to solve their problems, you actually lose your customers very very quickly. And with the way the industry is going with the competition, it's very difficult and important to retain those customers. Hence you want to enhance your operational efficiency, which means you still don't want to spend so much of money and resources to achieve the goals that you are trying to kind of unwind. Finally, I think we have already spoken about customers being the king in most of the industries. So you have to understand your customers. In fact, a lot of different products are kind of catered to from customer experience, which means that you actually change your products, you change your marketing strategies after you hear your customers. And this was all from a customer standpoint, but now coming from an employee standpoint, and that's where I think RPA has been really important, is that you want to give your employees much more experience of telling them that you have better things or your core competencies that you can work on. So you give a lot of time to them, while automation takes care of all the communications that are taking in the organization. So this is again a quick view of use cases, and I'm sure Soumya is gonna take a talk about it. So from a communications mining standpoint, there are two parts to it. One is that you want to do analysis, and the other part is that you want to do automation. So when I say analysis, you want to analyze some aspects of your historic communications, from the emails, from the chats. You want to understand something. That's analytics. If you want to understand the voice of the customer, like you might have conducted certain surveys, or you might have taken certain customer experience feedbacks, you want to understand what my customer is asking, you can use this communications mining. And finally, if you want to monitor any kind of channels, you can use. So this is more of analysis. The next part is doing the automation. So auto triage is where, once you have got some kind of communications, you want to classify it, which means that you want to say that this communication is more of a question, this is a feedback, this is something else. So that kind of classification, and then providing priority to those communications, with which you can actually automatically send this queries or whatever classifications you have done to the right stakeholders. Which means that within your organization, you might have got a separate team to manage feedback, separate team to manage queries. That's where this categorization really helps, and you can assign those cases to the right people. Which is also, talking from a case automation perspective, Like if, for example, a customer calls and you want to create a new case, or you want to change a case in these different service desk tools, you can use the automation part. And finally, the query automation, the example I gave, like for example, you understand that the query is so and so, and you want to give an answer to that, you can use RPA to drive the entire analysis that you have done. So that's from a high level about communication mining. But Soumya, I'll hand it over to you to provide anything that I have missed, and then happy for you to share your screen and then demonstrate the tool.
Thank you so much, Saloni. I think you did a fantastic job in giving an introduction to the product. So I'll just take you guys over the product, the real time use case, and how actually it works in the real time world. I'll just share my screen. Just give me a minute, please. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes,
Saloni?
Soumya, it's visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So basically, yeah, Saloni did an amazing job in telling us what is actually communications mining. Let me tell you in some technical terms and how it actually works in the real time scenario. So basically, when we are using when you are seeing communications mining as a product, what actually comes into our minds is the emails or the IT tickets that has been created, or any kind of text based data that is coming into the picture. So what is actually communications mining does is it takes certain machine learning techniques such as natural language processing, and it tries to perceive these messages like as a human does. So that is how the communications mining basically works upon. So when we take these data, what is the main action item that we have in mind is it does this email classification, or if you want to extract some key insights from these kinds of emails, or the IT tickets, or any kinds of text based data that is coming into the action. If you want to process them, if you want to have a goal set in mind of classification, or you want to extract some key insights or do some analytics, then communications mining comes into the picture. So when you see this platform, the main things that are coming into mind is there are some certain stages that we have to process this data. So before processing this data, we have certain things that has to be set up for a communications mining as a product. So this is just a sample based platform where I want to show you guys how, with a real time use case. So this particular communications mining platform consists of a data set which is based upon the which is based on the policy or insurance based information from which is being sent as an email to different customers or different vendors and so on. So this is the data set that it is being consisted of. So let us see what are the main things that communications mining comprises of. Okay, so when we see this platform, there is something called as a settings that has to be done. And if you see in the settings, there are different things that comes into picture. So the first thing, like Saloni told, how are we going to get the data from a particular source into the platform? So there are different sources that are available. So the first thing is you can see that there is emails that are coming across. There is Salesforce. There is data coming from chat messages. So all these data are stored in different kinds of places. But one thing is how we have to get it from that particular source into the platform. So in that way, when we see here, there is one thing called as the Outlook. The first thing is there's something called as the Outlook Exchange integration, where if you have inboxes that are available, that is out in a Outlook inbox that is available, we integrate the data into the communications mining platform. That means that we have certain methods where whatever email that comes into the inbox will be automatically duplicated onto the communications mining platform. So for that, what we do is, in order to train the model, what we do is we take the last 1 year of historic data. That means whatever data that we have got, whatever emails that we had received in the inbox for the past 1 year, all these emails will be integrated onto the platform for training the model. So in order to do that, we have something called as integrations that are available over here, and you can start your integration by creating by giving certain details onto the platform. So these steps are being given in a detailed method in a communications mining documentation. Since we don't have any real-time integration that is available right now, so I'm just going to take over what are the basic information that you have to get across to do this integration. Okay, so the first thing is we need to have a specified project that is available. So if you don't have any project that is available, we have to create one project and get the project name. Okay, for now I'm just going to use a default project, and then if you want, we can give a title, just optional, and then just give an API name. For example, I'm just going to write it as a test project or something. Okay, and then when you click on continue, we have certain details that has to be given, like the OAuth authority, OAuth client ID, the client secret. All these information will be fetched from the Azure portal, where we are going to create a connected app. That means an exchange integration app will be created, where all these information, necessary information, will be fetched from that particular place. So all these information has been given step by step as a detailed documentation, which we can refer from the UiPath documentation website. Okay, and then once we have all these information given, an exchange integration will be successfully created. Okay, and all the integrations will be available for us to do the integration, where all the emails from your Outlook inbox will be duplicated onto the platform. And when we want to take a specific amount of data, that means if you want to take the past 1 years of data, we'll be providing a timestamp where we have to specify that particular timestamp, and then from that particular date or time, all the emails will be integrated onto the platform. So that is one important thing that has to be seen, where you want to integrate all the data from the Outlook exchange integration into the communications mining platform. So that is one way. And for example, if you have different types of data, such as if you have data in the form of a CSV, where you don't have any inbox, where the customers are having some privacy issues or something, and then they just want to export the data through CSV files, and they want to import the data onto the platform. Then there is something called as CSV upload, where what happens is that we have already a source that has been created. Okay, inside that source, I'll just show you how to create the source right now. So when we create a new source, we just have to give the same details that like we saw with the integration as well. Okay, test source, or something like UiPath source or something. Okay, and then we click on continue, and then we select a bucket that has to be given. That means that a bucket is nothing but all the information or all the emails that are being collected inside that particular bucket. Okay, and then we click on continue, and then here there is something called as language that can be selected. So we have seen many customers having different kinds of languages that are coming across. There is French, there is German, there is Turkish. All these languages are being supported by communications mining. And if there is some other language other than English, for example, if it is multilingual, we have something called as translation services that are available, where the UiPath product can enable this translation services at some minimal cost, where you can use this translation service for translating all the multilingual messages into English. Or if you want to process it into the native languages, for example, if you want to process it in German, you can also do that as well. So this is how you create a source where all the emails that are you want to process on the communications mining platform can be processed with the help of this particular source. Okay, so now I have already a source available for me. For example, let us consider this is the source that I have, something called as an hospital organization data source. Okay, where I want to upload more data in the form of a CSV file. In that case, what we have to do is just click on this upload button. Okay, and then select a file. Maybe I have a CSV file, something like this. Okay, I'll just click on open, And then here what happens is that all the files that you have, whatever the file that you have selected, you have to specify certain properties for it to process as a CSV and then consume it as a single message on the communications mining platform. So usually what happens is that most of the use cases that I have seen across is processing emails more than processing any other kinds of data. Okay, so basically they use it for email classification. In that case, we have something called as the message ID, message column. So message ID is nothing but the unique ID that you get from all the messages. A unique, message ID will be available or can be fetched from the Outlook inbox or any other platform that you are going to use as an inbox. You definitely have a unique message ID for the particular email that you are going to integrate with. Okay, so there is something called as a message ID that you have to tell which ID you are going to take it from. Okay, and then there is something called as the message column. Okay, and then there is something called as a timestamp column. And timestamp column is the one where from when that your message has actually reached onto the inbox. And what is the message column is where is the actual message that you're going to get in, what is the message that you have actually. And then you want to select the subject column, the sender column, the to column, the CC column, and all those things you have to tell which column that actually in the CSV file it is present in. Okay, once that is done, if you click on upload, this particular data will be uploaded onto the source whatever that you have. Okay, so all the this is one of the ways that you can upload it into the communications mining platform. And there is another method where you can also integrate it with Salesforce as well, where you have tons of data in Salesforce and then you want to integrate onto the platform in the same way how we have created the exchange integration exchange. In the same way we have something with the Salesforce as well, where a connected app will be created for the Salesforce, and then all the messages will be integrated onto the platform with the help of an API. And that Salesforce connection is not available on my platform currently. But then if we want to have that use case, we can that the product team will be happy to enable that service and integrate all the Salesforce data, whatever you have, onto the platform with the help of a connected app that can be created. So these are the ways, or these are the methods that a person can integrate onto the platform with different types of sources that are available for us. So these are just the minimal ways that we can see. There are different types of ways. You can have chat messages, you can have ID tickets and so on. Okay, all these messages can be input in one or the other way with the different types of integrations that are available. So our only goal is, if you see here, our only goal is to just get the data properly onto the platform, so that these messages that are coming across should be having a proper information or metadata, we call it, on the platform, so that we'll be able to process it how we want after we train the model. Okay, do you have any questions or anything that you want to discuss, or else I can carry on?
So, my one question from my side for the benefit of participants.
Yeah,
So, you
sure.
were talking about, connecting to emails, and then once you have the integration available, all the emails are kind of available in this platform. So, is there a way we can actually filter out what emails we want to bring, or it will bring everything?
So what we can do is there has to be done certain pre-processing before we integrate onto the platform. Unfortunately, communications mining does not do this pre-processing techniques. So whatever pre-processing that we have to do it in the Outlook exchange. For example, if you are connecting with Outlook, and certain rules or templates has to be applied on the Outlook exchange email itself, so that so you can create a new folder or something, so that all the messages that you want to upload or filter them can be uploaded only with that particular folder and not the entire inbox.
Thanks. That answers.
Okay, great. uh, yeah, I'll carry on then. So all the messages, so once we have all the messages onto the platform, the first thing communications mining does is we have four stages that has to be followed. So the first thing is called as a discover, explore, validation, discover, train, explore, and validation. And these are the four major steps that has to be followed when we integrate all the emails onto the platform. So the first thing let us see is the discover. So once all the emails are ingested onto the platform, so what happens is that we have certain supervised learning techniques where all the messages gets clustered into different groups, okay, based on the supervised learning techniques that we have on the platform. That means that we have emails coming across. For example, in this particular page you can see over here that all these emails are grouped onto a particular topic, that is the topic classification, where it sees similar keywords that are available. For example, there is something called as the policy cancellation, and all these messages are related to particular keyword called as a cancellation that is coming across. So all these things will get automatically clustered based on its knowledge, based on the keywords that it is seeing on the platform, and then it forms clusters or forms groups on the platform, and then it will tries to portray us and ask us to label these kinds of these emails on the platform. And before having these clusters that is being formed, there is something called as the labels and the entities that are present on the platform. Okay, so I'll just take over first about the labels and entities that are available, and then we'll come to this clustering and the grouping of the of the emails on the platform. Okay, but whenever emails that are coming across, the clustering is the first process that it takes place, irrespective we have the labels or the fields that we have on the platform. Okay. So when we go onto the settings place, we have something called as a taxonomy that is coming across. So this is a new thing that is being introduced on the platform, where we have something called as the generative extraction field as well, which where it intelligently extracts certain information or key points on the platform. So when we see taxonomy, there is two things that are coming into our mind. There is labels and the fields, or we call it as entities as well. So since communications mining is a multi-classification model, it basically helps us to classify different types of emails on the platform. So labels helps us to classify the emails on the platform. So we have different types of labels that are coming across. There is claim, there is payment confirmation, there is payment refund policy. So when we want to understand what kind of an email that is available on the platform, we have these different types of labels that are available for us, that are created by us, so that it easily classifies the emails on the platform. Okay, so for example, if it is a policy email, we just take this policy email, and then we understand what kind of an email is it through this hierarchical method, where we have a deeper insight of what kind of an email that is actually present on the platform. So we take all these information, and then we classify it accordingly based on the labels that we have imported on the platform. Okay, so for example, if you want to create a new label, for example, I want to create a new label based on something called as the claim. Okay, and then I want to tell what kind of a claim email is it. I want to tell whether it is I want to understand what is the status of the particular claim that we have. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell that I want to know the status of the email. So I just want to understand, I want to see whether it's a claim email, and then I want to see what is the status of the claim that I have already have onto the platform. So in this way, what happens is that whatever email that comes into the picture, okay, that if it is related to the claim email, and if it is related to the status of the particular claim that we are having in, then what happens is that we can label that particular email as the claim, and it is belonging to the status email that is there on the platform. So basically, these kinds of labels will help us to understand or differentiate between different types of emails that are on the platform. And then we have something called as the fields that is coming across. So fields are nothing but there are key points or data points that are there on the email. For example, we have different types of data points that are coming across on the email, such as address or email that you want to extract from the particular email, and then you want to pre-process it into somewhere else. So I have seen in my with my client where they want to extract different types of invoice numbers, and they want to extract PO numbers on the email that are given across. So what they do is they pre-process into they put it into a separate SAP application, and they pre-process it on their own. So in order to extract all these information intelligently from the emails, we have something called as the fields that are coming across. So once we define this particular field, for example, we have something called as the expiry date, we have something called as a country, and we have something like policy number and so on. Okay. Once we define this, we have to make sure that all these are being labeled, or all these are being annotated on the communications mining platform, so that the model will understand that okay, in this email these are the things that are available, and hence once a new email comes into the picture, it automatically that model automatically will extract these emails that are coming across, and then it will do the job easier. Okay, so it is just like you can see that it's just a small baby where you are teaching it teaching all the things that it doesn't know, and then once it understands everything, if something new that comes across for it, or if it something sees new something, if it sees something new, then it will automatically understand based on the things that it has been taught across. So this is how you can also see a machine learning model as well. So once we teach the model based on our understanding, based on what what it actually has to be in a particular sense, the model will also tries to get it from the past and labeling or annotation that we have done, and then it will provide the right results for us. So this is nothing called as the general fields, and there is something called as an extraction field. Okay, so extraction field is nothing but a new feature that I told before. So based something called as a generative extraction, which is newly introduced for the communications mining, where if we have different invoice numbers that are present. So for example, we have an email where we have a table, and then there is multiple invoice numbers present. So but the field name is just an invoice number, but we have different values present which are associated with that particular field name. Okay, in that case we use something called as a generative extraction, where all these will be extracted intelligently with the help of a machine learning model, where it need not be trained explicitly. Okay, the model will itself understand, because it's a supervised and an unsupervised learning techniques that have been integrated with it. So with the help of these learnings, it will automatically understand what kind of whether it is multiple numbers or whether it has different PO numbers. All these things will be automatically identified by the model, and then it will try to extract all the numbers from the table that we have. So this is how the generative extraction field also works. So so we have basically three things that we need to remember when uploading a data. So one is the labels, the next one is the general fields, and the next is the extraction fields. So all these three things are very important for classifying the data and extracting key points from these emails or whatever data that you have integrated onto the platform. Okay, and then let us see some features on the data set that we have. So first thing is we have something called the data set name, and you can also have you can also have something called as the description of the data also, and there is something called as the quality of service, and there is tone analysis. So quality of service is basically used for emails. For example, you have seen chaser kind of emails, okay, where you have back and forth conversations happening continuously, where the customers is having emails with the help desk continuously back and forth, where there are like multiple conversations that have been going on, like 20 to 30 chain of emails that has been going on. And what happens is that the bigger organizations do not have enough time to look at each and every conversation and see and have an intervention that can be done, right? So the person cannot keep on monitoring or keep on reading the messages and understanding why this service is going down or why the service is having a positive impact, or different kinds of analysis cannot be done. So what we do is we have something called as a quality of service, where we have where we can analyze the messages without having to read the entire conversation again and again. So for example, the customer would have expressed different kinds of emotions in the emails, where they are expressing that the quality of service has gone down, where they have not got back to us on time, or they have not even though there are a lot of escalations that has been done, but still we do not have any solutions or any understanding that can be done from this particular conversation that we are having. In that way, what we can do is this quality of service, when we enable it, it gives us a score. Okay, it gives us a brilliant score for us. I'll show you that in this particular project that I have enabled. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so if you see here, there is some score that is being given over here. Okay, so this quality of service will tells us that this particular emails is going back and forth, but then we can understand the impact of the messages where the service is not that good and it is coming in a negative manner. So with the help of, so what we will do with this negative thing, what happens is you can have an an impact or an intervention, and you can intervene in between and say, hey, okay, this has been happening and I'll take an action immediately. Okay, based on this particular thing, we can also have greater escalation to a higher management. So then an intervention can be immediately given, so that the customer will not be lost or will not be having more quality issues with the help of the service that they are actually getting across. And also there is something called as a tone analysis, where you can also understand different types of tone. So when you see Amazon feedback or reviews, there are different types of feedbacks that are coming across. There is positive feedback, there's negative feedback, right? But in when you see as a tone, as a whole of picture, there are different types of emotions that are coming in. There is neutral emotions, there are angry, there is sad, there is different types of emotions a person has. Okay, it's just not a positive or a negative things. Okay, but in that case, what happens is that this tone will help us to understand the whole intent of the message that the person is having, whether the tone is going a bit on the negative side or on the positive side. What are the interventions that we can take, why this tone has come across, and whose fault is this tone, whether it's the customer side, whether it is the help desk side. We can understand what kind of tone this person is having. Based on this tone, a person can take an intervention. So this greatly helps, the quality of service and the tone greatly helps in this providing a better service for the customers. And there is something called as the label sentiment, where like I told, there are different types of there are different types of emotions, right? That is for the tone analysis. But if you see Amazon reviews and feedback, there is just a positive positive sentiment and negative sentiment. So based on whether the recommendations that you want to provide, right, whether if it is a positive or whether it is negative, based on the some certain recommendations, we understand whether the product is doing good or not. So similarly, we have something called as a sentimental analysis for the data set that you want to integrate onto the platform as well. So we can say whether this customer email is a negative, has a negative sentiment, or whether it has a positive sentiment, and we can have a greater analysis overall as well. So on the whole basis, on we can have a deeper understanding about the platform, or about the data set that we have, whether it is having moving positively or whether it is moving negatively. Okay, so this is something that we have. These are three features that we are having related to the intent or the sentiments that we can see across on the data set. And one beautiful thing that I want to mention with communications mining platform is, we do not, like other projects, like if you see a document understanding project, we do not have to train the model and wait for some time for the model to get trained and then we need to deploy it. That is not the case in communications mining project. So once you upload the data onto the platform, and once we have the taxonomy set, what happens is that whatever changes that we do on the platform, it starts automatically updating, okay, on real time basis. So even a small change that you do, for example, you just change the label, or if you upload a new label. I just had uploaded had given a new label in the platform, right, in the taxonomy. So what happens is that it immediately starts updating, and then it says that it's training the model version 51 in 23 minutes. So it starts updating in real time, so that do not have to wait for the model to get trained or something like that, right? You can also start working on the model simultaneously, where in the backend these models will get updated, and then once it gets updated, you can do some pre-processing, that post-processing that can be done after the model gets trained successfully. So this is one beautiful thing is cannot be seen anywhere, which where it is a real time training of the model that is taking place. So this is the overall settings of the project. There are much more things. I think I don't have the time permit to have to explain in detail about those things. I'll just move across with the other stages of the platform. So like I told before, we have something called as the discover process, where using the machine learning techniques, we the model the platform automatically groups them into certain clusters, or groups them into certain groups based on the keywords that we have. Okay, so here we can see that there are like 30 clusters that has been formed. So once we have these messages that are being grouped, what we have to do is we just have to make sure that it gets properly annotated or labeled on the platform. Okay, so what we can do is, for example, this is related to the policy cancellation. And because of the AI that we have on the platform, what happens is that there are also suggestions that are being generated automatically based on the clusters that is being formed. And also we have something called as a label suggestion reasoning that has also been given for us. So all the messages that are being clustered has this label being suggested by the model, and it also gives a reason why it is suggesting such label as well. So if you want to if you want to apply a label, for example, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say policy cancellation. Okay, I'm just going to click that, and I'm going to say add label. Okay. So once you do this, what happens is that all the labels will get automatically applied. Okay. So, and then I'm going to click on apply labels. So once you do this apply of labels, the automatically all the labels on this particular page will get applied. So what happens is that this helps us to do a bulk labeling. That means in clusters or in groups, you're doing a bulk labeling, where you don't have to go across each and every label and then do something related to do particularly for each and every each and every message that are available. So this helps us to do bulk labeling. So we have something called as 30 clusters that has been automatically formed. Okay, if you keep on doing for every cluster that is available on this particular page, once you finish all the 30 clusters, and the model gets automatically updated, and then it gets retrained based on the message, based on the information that we have provided on the model. So that is the reason what we do is we only ask the business SME, that is the subject matter expert from the organization, to do this labeling or annotating on the platform, since they know better about the process, and they can impart much better knowledge on the platform, so the model will learn better from them. So that is the reason we ask the business need to label the messages on the platform. So once you finish all the 30 clusters on the platform, the model gets again retrained, and then it will start suggesting better clusters for us based on the information that we had given. Okay, and then we have something called as modes that are also present. There is something called as the cluster mode, and there is something called as search mode as well. So for example, you start training them based on the clusters, and you want to see some new information that is not being given by the model or shown by the model, because we have lots of messages on the platform, right? We may be having like 120K of data or more than that, right? So in that case, if you want to search certain keywords, in that case, what we can do is we can also search the data set with the help of these keywords, and then we can also label the label the messages on the platform in a bulk manner as well. So this is one of the important things, or the first step you can say on when you import the messages on the platform. And once we are done with all the 30 clusters, and once we are like satisfied with the amount of messages that we have labeled on the platform, we go into something called as the explore phase, where what happens is that the messages will be shown to you, where the model will started how would have started understanding what kind of model is it and what kind of messages that are being integrated, and also have certain labels as well, right? So in that case, the explore part where it comes is each message will be there, and for this particular message, a suggestion or a prediction will be available for you guys. So here you can see here that it says that it is this particular message is claim confirmation belongs to claim, and it has a deeper insight that it is a claim confirmation message, and then it is confident of 65%. So, and also here it is high, has a higher confidence that it is 91% confident that this particular message belongs to claim. So if you see the color difference, there is in the darker color has a higher confidence, and the less lighter color has a little less lower confidence. So this is how you can differentiate between the confidence scores given by the model as well. So since we had done enough of bulk labeling in the discover phase, the messages will get good predictions in the explore phase, where you have to correct whether this particular claim confirmation belongs to this particular message. Okay, so once I say okay, this particular message belongs to this claim confirmation, I click on yes. Okay, if I click on, if I annotate it, that means if I label that it belongs to claim confirmation, you have something called as the tick mark that comes here. This tick mark basically tells us that this particular message is being reviewed by the human. That means it is being annotated by the human. Okay, I'm sorry, there is some glitch going on. I think there is it's going back and forth. Yeah. So this says that this particular email is being reviewed by the human. Okay, and then in this particular message, you can see something called as the claim number that is being given for us. Okay, this claim number is one of the data points that we wanted from the particular message, that are key points that you want to extract from this particular message. So in that case, for example, if you want to get this claim number, so what we have to do is you have to go into this annotate field. Okay, and then what happens is that there is something called as a generative extraction that we had, right? Which I had told before. So if you click on this particular predict extractions, what happens is that this particular ML model that is in the back end will automatically tells us what kind of an email, what kind of an extraction point that we have. For example, here it says that it is claim number. Okay, and we have the claim number automatically given. So in this case, it's a policy number. Okay, it automatically told that it's a policy number, and then what we have to do is we have to make sure that we need to confirm it correctly, whether it is correct or not. Okay, and then there is something called as a claim confirmation, another policy number that is being given, and then we also have to confirm whether it is the policy number that are available. So once you click on confirmation, what happens is that it will automatically get confirmed that this particular message, it belongs to this policy number. So this is how we understand the key points that has to be extracted. So once we annotate on, once the model gets to know whether this particular email has claim number or the policy number available, so if a new message comes into the picture, it automatically predicts that this particular email has the policy number and what email that it belongs to. So this is how we understand the key points or the classification that can be done on the platform. Saloni, do we have some time, or what is the end time here? Can we have that, please?
I am just trying to understand if the participants have some time. Of course, we had blocked time till now, like within 1 minute we wanted to wind up. But if participants are interested, we can go on. So
Maybe I can
anybody
take around 10 minutes. Is it okay?
works for me. If others are okay, I'm fine.
For me too. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think a lot of people are saying we can go on. So Samya, continue.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so much, guys. Yeah. So, so this is the explore phase that we saw. And there are some other features that we have on the left-hand side, if you see here. So all the fields that you had created on the taxonomy, okay? So these are the fields that we have, and these are the extraction fields, that is the generative fields that we had. And these are the labels that we have, that we had created on the taxonomy page, okay? So you can see certain red dials over here. Okay, so these are the recommendations that has been given by the model. Like I told before, the model trains on the real time basis, right? So it automatically tells us or gives us a recommendation since it's a guided experience on the platform. Okay, so for example, if you say see this medical label, okay, if you see here, it says that this average estimation is unreliable due to low number of training examples. That means that it's asking us to label more on the platform since the model does not understand what it actually means here in this case. Okay, so for example, I'll just click on this. Okay, when you click on this particular label, all the messages that it is not unsure. Okay, that this particular email is not unsure, it is asking us to label more. So if you see here, there is a color difference over here. So slightly darker one is at 82%. Okay, and the color over here is very light. Okay, it is just at 28%. That means the model is very unsure of what this particular email belongs to, which label it belongs to. So in this method, we'll understand that it's a guided experience, and it will tell us what to do, what has to be done, and how many labels has to be how many messages has to be labeled, and so on. And we have different modes that are also coming across. We have something called as the teach mode, low confidence mode, missed mode, check mode, rebalance mode. All these modes for labels and also fields helps us to train better for the model. I'll just show you one. For example, if you want to see missed mode, okay, and I'll say maybe this particular label is not being very clear about the model. Okay, I think this is not working. Okay, I'll just show to this particular this one, or maybe let's see the low confidence one. Okay, so if you go to the low confidence mode, what happens is that but for this particular message, the confidence score is okay at 85%. For the next label that it is being predicted, it's very unsure, and it's very the confidence score is very less for the particular message that it is predicting for. Okay, so it is showing all these messages that it's saying that I'm not confident, please label more on the platform, so that I'll be able to understand if such kinds of messages come across. So if you go to different kinds of modes on this particular explore phase, you can train better, and you will have a better accuracy of the model. So once the model understands perfectly, only then we'll be able to push it into the production, right? Because we do not want to have false results or false positive on the platform. So that is the reason we will make sure that the model is completely good. The model is having a perfectly understanding of what the data set has, and has a good classification scores or confidence scores as well. And also there is something, a new feature that is being given by the communications mining team. Okay, here you can all here there is something called as an autopilot, like similar to chat gpt, where if you discover if you describe some filters on the platform, it will be automatically applied on the platform itself, instead of you going and filtering it manually. Okay, so I'll just say give some claim emails. Okay, and then when you press on enter, so yeah, a filter is being applied over here, and then emails which is related to the claim. Okay, so basically you can understand that it has claim as the labels that is being predicted upon, and then it automatically generates the emails or the messages that is belonging to this particular claim emails. Okay, so this is one of the new features that is being introduced by the product team, which is similar to the gpd that we have. Okay, and there is something called as a timestamp, where if you select different time stamps or different dates that you want the model to get show the messages, it will also show that particular message for the different timestamps that we have. For example, if you want to see last 7 days, it will automatically shows us. Let me put some custom range. For example, I just tell 2021. Okay, so all the messages which are having from 2021, from November 2021, it all the messages will be automatically displayed on this particular timestamp in this particular filter. So these are the features that we can see in the explore phase. And there is something called as a train phase. So train phase will tell us few recommendations, like I told before. For example, if you want to see there are there is performance issues, there is accuracy issues, and so on. All these things will be automatically shown to us that why this particular data set is not performing well or having some average estimation issues and so on. Okay, based on this particular thing, we can take different types of actions as well. And the last stage is called as the validation stage, where it basically shows us the whole model rating. That means what is the percentage, how confident the whole platform is, whether it is having a good rating or a poor rating or an excellent rating. All these things will be shown on this particular page, and it will also tell us in detail and what are the percentage and how is it performing in all the models, and what are the underperforming labels, what is the percentage for the underperforming labels, what is the balance. That means whether it is, does it have any bias that is being created, whether it is like positive or negative. All these things are shown to us in detail, so that nothing can be missed out from the from for the organization at all in all perspectives. And it also shows us, like I told before, there are different types of recommendation that is being given. For example, if you see over here, the underperforming labels is at a poor stage. That means most of the labels on the platform which has a very less confidence score is performing very not good. Okay, so in that case they have different kinds of a recommendation that is being given. So it's, for example, if it is asking us to find messages that may be missing, claim unmedical, or it is asking us to review predictions for this particular message. So when I click on that particular message, all the emails related to this payment or payment details are being displayed for us, and it is asking us to annotate it or confirm whether this particular particular label belongs to this particular message or not. So based on these recommendations, what happens is that we'll understand better, we'll make the model understand better, and make sure the having make sure that we get better results at the end of the process. So in this way we have different kinds of recommendations that is being given. So basically the business SME's job is to make sure this validation process is correctly done, because once we are done with this explore and the discover and the explore phase, this is the last step where we need to validate it. Because what happens is that when when a student goes into an exam, when the student goes to school and reads the entire year, and there is an exam at the end of the semester, right? So why we do that exam? Because we want to make sure that the student has done better or has learned better the whole year. In the same way, we have something called as a validation step, where we make sure that these recommendations are provided by the platform, so that we make sure that the model is correctly correctly predicting, or if it is something is missing in the predictions, or if it is not understanding, we need to validate it. We need to make sure that we need to make sure that it performs well with the help of these recommendations or validations that is being given by the model, and then we make sure that it is correct or not. Okay, so this is the validation that is being provided over here, and the same validations we have it for the fields, that is the extractions that we are doing it, and they have calculations that is being given, like an F1 score, the precision and recall. For every field that we have, there is something that is being given as well, and there is something for extractions as well. And so this is how the validation works for all the factors that we have. And in the last part is the reports part. The reports part, what it does is it helps us to understand all the messages that are there analytically. Like if you want to have different kinds of graphs, if you want to see what is the label summary, if you want to understand the trends, okay, if you want to see how the messages were being performed for the last 10 months, if you want to see the label trend, how which label is providing us better results and so on. So the reports helps us to understand all the data in analytical method. So every organization has a goal to do some post processing, but at the same time the business team would definitely want to know how the data is being performed in their organization, graphically or analytically. So in this way what happens is communications mining provides an all-in package, where it makes sure that it gives certain graphs or certain segments or certain label summary, so that it will make the business understand more better, and it does not have to allocate or outsource into a different platform altogether. They have all the things that are available in the platform itself, so that they can refer all these things analytically, so that they'll have a better understanding on how their data is being performing the whole year. Okay. And after the validation, what happens is that there is different models that have been generated. Like I told, there is training that is being going on in a real time basis. So whenever a training gets completed for a particular version, okay, so like I said here, if you see here, there are predictions that are up to date with model version 51, which has been 5 minutes ago, right? So a new model is being generated over here. So all the models, there are different kinds of models that are being generated, will be available in this model section. Okay. So what we do is we always pin the latest model that we have. Okay. And if you don't want this particular model that has to be pinned, you can always unpin it. Okay. But what we do is we usually pin the model. Okay. And then we go into something called as the streams over here. So streams are nothing but for post processing the data. That means if you want to have if you want to post process it, if you want to extract this particular data with the help of a UiPath Studio, then what we do is we want to extract this with the help of the streams. Okay. So what we do is we create a new stream. Okay. We can add different kinds of filters. For example, if you want to have only the emails, or if you want to get only the sender domain and so on, we can also add new filters. And then, for example, I'm just going to create a test stream. Okay. And then you can select the particular version that is being generated. So the 51st version of the model is the one that I pinned. Okay. I'm just going to click this 51. Okay. Select this 51. And then I'm going to make sure that I create a particular threshold for it. Okay. To make sure that it has a good threshold or good value for it. Okay. So for example, here, this threshold will help us to have make sure that we create this threshold, so that the messages which has this particular confidence, okay, only those messages will be available for us to process them onto this stream. So for each and every label that we have, we can create this particular threshold over here. Okay, maybe for example, I'm going to create it at 54%. Okay, so 54% of the threshold, we have this precision and recall that is being given over here. Okay, so this is 100% precise, and the recall rate is at 83%. So basically, what precision and recallers are the metrics that are used to evaluate how well a model performs. So with the help of these precision and recall factors, we can select this threshold, so that for this particular label that we are having this particular threshold, only those confidence or the emails that are having this predictions that are confident enough, only those emails will be present for us with the labels that is being classified, and also the key points that we have. So the streams definitely will help us to get all the predictions that are given by the model for the new emails that are coming onto the platform. So with the help of these streams that has been created, we can definitely use it for post processing or having a downstream process with the help of UiPath Studio, where it can be connected to different types of applications like SAP applications, or you want to connect it with, or you want to just print it on an Excel sheet, or you want to have it to give it to the business, or create a PowerPoint presentation. All these information will definitely help us with the help of this streams that has been created. So for a real-time process, what we do is we set up different types of different triggers, or you can say some time-based triggers, so that whenever a new email comes in, whenever a new email comes in onto the platform, the model will predict that for that particular message, and immediately it will push onto the stream, and it will be processed immediately for the downstream. So this is how we keep a time-based trigger for real-time projects, so that we do not want to miss any messages that are coming on the platform, and then wait for a longer time to get it processed. So we make sure that we process it immediately, so that the downstream process does not get hit, and then the process does not get hindered in this manner. So this is how the whole of communications mining work. There are a lot of things actually to be told. An hour is never enough. We do keep like ILT sessions for like 5 to 6 days, and make sure that the person gets fully trained and gets a proper hands on. uh, the time was not enough for me, but then once you have a proper hands on, you will definitely understand more about the project and more about the platform. And depending on the use case, depending on whatever use case you have, you definitely have the full freedom to explore the platform and then suit it across according to your use case. And I really thank Saloni for giving this precious opportunity. It was really nice sharing it with you guys. And if you have any questions, please free to ask.
Thanks, Soumya. Thanks a lot for taking out time today. I know we spent extra 15 minutes, but I'm pretty sure it was really required because honestly, in Australia, this is a product which is still new to many of us. And then we are picking up for a lot of customers. So it was great. We're happy to hear from participants for any questions, any kind of feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody wants to share?
I think I saw a question. Where can I access communications mining? I do not see that in the community edition. So communications mining is not available for the community editions. It's just for the enterprise customers. Maybe you can take a trial enterprise version for 60 days, and then check out the communications mining. I think I already gave an overview for the streams tab. Yeah.
And I think another question that some of you might ask is like if you can access the recording. So if you go back to the chapter, which is on the community website, you should be able to access the recordings of all the sessions that we conduct. I hope that would be handy. If not, just write to me. I would be able to help you. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. I think it was nice and insightful 4 sessions that we did for discovery. Uh, Soumya, I would really want to invite you some other time because I know we spoke about some of the details that we couldn't cover today. So
Yeah.
will be sharing some more sessions with the team. So yeah,
Yes,
I'll be
definitely.
happy to have you again.
Yeah.
Thanks
Sure.
everyone. Thanks for patiently listening and keep a watch on new sessions that would be on the chapter. And we'll be happy to meet all of you again.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice session. Thank you.
Thank you.